Hello, my name is Matt and this is Pixel Burn, where I take a sarcastic look at the week's gaming news. Fans of all things Atlas soiled their collective undergarments this week at the release of a new trailer for Persona 5, coming to PS3 and PS4, the fifth instalment of the long-running Persona series of Japanese RPGs, part of a spin-off of another long-running series of JRPGs called Megami Tensei, that itself spawned a bunch of other series with Megami Tensei in the title, along with some other games that don't, but still tenuously connected by shared gameplay elements, as if the whole bloody thing weren't confusing enough already. Unlike the first trailer, which was just a bunch of chairs with balls and chains around their legs, this new one actually has characters, locations and other tangible things you couldn't get away with hanging in a gallery for some superficial gorper to ponder the sheer bloody meaning of. My initial impression of this trailer was how it kind of reminded me of The Matrix, crossed with Sailor Moon, although that's still quite apt for a series where you're fighting evil by moonlight and winning love by daylight. The biggest feature of the Persona series is how it combines JRPG hack and slash with dating sim mechanics. In Persona 4, for example, you had to balance ordinary day-to-day activities like school, homework and friendship with going into a surreal world inside a TV, home to a talking bear, to fight tangible Jungian shadows born from humanity's collective unconscious. Which, as in the rest of the series, you do by unleashing the titular personas, recurring psychological archetypes represented in-game by mythological figures like Lucifer, Thor, Quetzalcoatl, a unicorn, Moonface, Chimney Tiger, the Samurai Pizza Cats, and of course, Chariot Penis. Graphically, this new installment looks very similar to Atlus's previous title, Catherine, their test title for the current generation before the current generation became the last generation. It's also quite dark, albeit very stylish, with the new cast seeming to be a ragtag group of delinquent misfits. Yes, even the cat. Especially the cat. Something of a stark contrast to the innocent, truth-seeking, Enid Blyton-esque main cast of Persona 4. It also appears to have more in the way of action elements, like this stealth section. Although if you don't like JRPGs in general, then things like this are unlikely to change your mind about them. All anybody outside Atlus knows right now is that Persona 5 is due for release sometime in 2015 on PS3 and PS4. And considering Atlus like to take their time localising their games for Western audiences, you might have to wait a while after Japan gets it first. Although that does mean when you finally do get your sweaty paws on Persona 5, it'll be up to Atlus's usual high standards, localised for Western audiences in a way that nevertheless preserves its uniquely Japanese flavour. Speaking of other things from Japan that are popular in the West, Netflix are in the early stages of developing a series based on The Legend of Zelda, according to the Wall Street Journal. Oh god, they're not bringing back the animated series, are they? Tell me they're not bringing back the animated series.
Excuse me, princess.
No, thankfully the animated series has been consigned to the dustbin of history where it belongs. Instead, according to Netflix themselves, they're working closely with Nintendo to make The Legend of Zelda a live-action adaptation, with flesh and blood actors no less. Because that worked out so well the last time, didn't it? You'll know what I'm talking about. Don't pretend you don't remember. I'll fucking make you remember.
Super Mario Brothers. This ain't no game.
And yet, despite this miserable track record, some Zelda fans were thrilled by the news, saying things like, "Give it a chance," and "It'll be something new." You know what else would be something new? An alien virus that turns your skeleton into jelly and fuses it with your nerves into a scaffold of perpetual agony. Would you give that a chance? Other Zelda fans were more discerning and cynical, predicting this series will be the biggest disaster to have ever befallen the Kingdom of Hyrule since it all got flooded at the end of Wind Waker. Fortunately for the doomsayers, just because Netflix say they want to make a live-action Legend of Zelda series doesn't mean it's a done deal. The series doesn't even have any writers attached to it yet, let alone star talent, although Netflix aren't short on ambition. You see, apparently, they want to make The Legend of Zelda the equivalent of, and I quote, Game of Thrones. What, so is Ganon going to give huge long monologues while watching two moblins wank each other off? For a family audience. I didn't mean they'd actually show the moblins wanking on camera. It'd be a secret to everybody. Although now that I think about it some more... Oh god no, I'm a terrible person. I am a terrible fucking person. So with all this Game of Thrones talk, all I can imagine now is this. Yeah! Peter Dinklage, I am so sorry. You see, Netflix? Fucking happy now? You see what you fucking made me do? You monsters. Continuing on the topic of Nintendo and poor decisions, after recently unveiling their new YouTube partnership program, the company updated its policies this week, all to better clarify exactly how much you'd be under their thumb if you're foolish enough to sign up for it. In another classic example of Nintendo taking one step forward and three staggering steps sideways into a bin. In a nutshell, signing up for Nintendo's program as a YouTuber means Nintendo take a chunk of your ad revenue, after Google and everyone else has also taken their chunk, claim perpetual worldwide ownership rights to your content, and get cheap advertising for their games if your channel's popular enough. In return, you receive the privilege of recording yourself playing Nintendo games and sticking the vids up on YouTube with Nintendo's grudging approval, so long as you don't say anything negative about Nintendo or the games you're playing. Yep, no criticism allowed when you're living under Uncle Ninty's roof, and you'd better not align yourself with any antisocial forces either while you're at it. No, I'm serious, that line is actually in the terms and conditions. Hey, Cthulhu, how's it going? That's great. Listen, so Nintendo got back to me. Well, basically, if I want to cover any of their games on my YouTube channel, then Nintendo says we can't be friends anymore. Nah, fuck that, you're my mate. So, we still on for Wednesday? No, I won't forget the enchanted stone monolith carved beneath a crimson moon. You're never gonna let me live that down, are you? But Matt, doesn't this only affect people who get paid to sit around on their asses playing games all day? Why should they earn a living doing that instead of the soul-crushing 9-to-5 job that society conditioned me to believe was the only way to make a living? Well, no, it also affects people like me who use publicly available Nintendo trailers to talk about them in a news context, for your education and entertainment. While I have it somewhat easier than Let's Players because I can make a stronger case for fair use, that still doesn't prevent Nintendo trying to put claims on my videos, which they thankfully haven't. Yet. Plus, as I and countless others keep having to repeat until we choke on our own scorn, people primarily watch YouTubers for the personalities playing the games, not the games themselves. You could argue that without the games to play in the first place, these YouTubers wouldn't have any material, yet plenty of other companies out there are more than happy for the completely free publicity they give. Even YouTube mega superstar PewDiePie has hit out at the scheme, calling it a slap in the face to the YouTube channels that focus on Nintendo games exclusively and the people who have helped and showed passion for Nintendo's community, out of sheer bloody love for Nintendo, resulting in a rare and weird situation where I find myself wholeheartedly supporting PewDiePie on something. No, Cthulhu, mate, no. This does not mean the stars are right. No, you cannot usher in a new eon of madness and horror. Nah, this is just a one-off. Yeah, go back to bed, mate. Yet even PewDiePie's criticism of the scheme has failed to prevent scores of eager, desperate people signing up to Nintendo's program. So many in fact that Nintendo are struggling to meet the demand. The likely reason being that if the biggest YouTubers choose not to cover Nintendo's games because of their new policies, then, well, that's a niche ripe for smaller YouTubers to exploit, isn't it? Particularly younger ones who might lack the foresight to realise they're being ripped off in the long term. With me now to provide an expert opinion on the subject is the Prophet Jakar from TV's Babylon 5. Now, Jakar, what are your feelings on YouTubers so eagerly signing up to Nintendo's partnership program?
They are to be pitied. They are already on a course for self-destruction.
Could this not actually work out to their benefit?
No.
Thank you, Jakar, as always, for your wisdom. Needless to say, I don't think signing up for Nintendo's scheme is a particularly good idea. Not only are you effectively surrendering rights to all your Nintendo related video content for a measly stipend from the Big N, to make the most out of your earnings you have to register your entire channel with the program, which means no non-Nintendo games allowed. And even then you're still only allowed to cover the games on Nintendo's list of approved titles. By supporting Nintendo in this, out of some misguided sense of childhood nostalgia, you're also encouraging other companies to consider something similar, with similar strings attached. Hell, not even EA has stooped to this level. Sure, their Ronku program isn't the best example, but at least it doesn't ask you to sign your YouTube channel away, although it might do in future if Nintendo are allowed to get away with this backwards Stone Age bullshit with nobody calling them out on it. If you genuinely love Nintendo as a company and Nintendo products, and have fond childhood Nintendo memories, the best thing you can do is not support this program. Even better, criticise it. Send them feedback on that scented Mario-headed letter paper you got with the last of your Club Nintendo coins, explaining why this is a bad idea. And for Ganon's sake, don't think that you can sign up for this scheme and somehow get a better deal because you're Nintendo's biggest fan, and they'd never hurt you in a million years. Newsflash, bucko, you'd be just as screwed as the rest of Nintendo's biggest fans. But as I've already said, some people are going to sign up for this regardless of what I or even PewDiePie have to say on the matter. So to those people, I sincerely wish you the best of luck with your future YouTube endeavours. You'll fucking need it. That's all for this episode of Pixel Burn. If you liked it, please do let me know, and let your friends, family and the secret wanking moblins know as well. At the very least, I hope you found it tolerable. If you didn't like it, however, then there's a good chance you're Peter Dinklage, in which case, please, 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 please accept my sincerest grovelling apologies. The rest of you can go now. You are a smelly little mim.